Welcome to the Be Happy Now show. Flex your soul connection muscle and be your inner guide to fulfillment and purpose. I'm Claudia-Sam. If you know that you're here for a bigger reason, this is the place to be. Together, we ditch the self-care guilt and quit the go with less fear and more trust. Tune in to living life in alignment with your full potential. The Be Happy Now show starts now. When tasks run your life, please hear me when I say this. There's a chance that the ego is running the show and not your heart or your soul self. You might have symptoms of disconnection, like feeling that you want more work-life balance, like you want to be present throughout your day. Maybe you're feeling like you need a vacation. And perhaps you know you're aiming towards burnout if you don't do anything about it. Maybe your solution is to add exercise routines or, give yourself amounts of water to drink every day. And you may feel in control, thinking that you're prioritizing your health, but health isn't just physical. And when tasks run our life, we run the chance of running out of energy, running battery low. We're going to talk about this today in this episode of the Be Happy Now show. I'm Claudia-Sam. I'm your soul connection coach. And if you haven't yet caught episode 162, in the episode, I share 5 key things to do when you're feeling like you've hit a low moment. So I invite you to go back and listen if you want to have a cheat sheet of what to do when that happens. Because if you have arrived at the running out of energy, if your battery's already low, you might want to listen to that first. Okay. This episode today will be specifically about helping you out of tasks or the to-do list running the show. There's also an episode of the Be Happy Now show where I talk about anxiety being a symptom of disconnection. That is episode number 115. The thing is, you could use the tasks running your life also as a symptom of disconnection. When this is almost like being on autopilot in fight or flight mode, reacting instead of responding. Do you relate to, do you resonate with that? If tasks run your life and you're listening to this show, chances are you actually want none of that. Do you want to have control over your tasks, over your time, over your energy and your decisions? Because you might be someone who's driven by creating a positive impact in the world, a part of you may think that taking all of these actions, ticking all the boxes on the to-do list is the solution and is the only way to success. When, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is actually a false belief. And that is the root of burnout thinking. And it is the root of what drives insane behaviors where we prove ourselves to other people and even to ourselves. So we overwork, we forget what's good for us, we forget what our soul wants, we don't hear the intuition as often as we know we can, we forget how much time things actually take. It becomes really exhausting. And behind tasks running your life, there's something important I want to ask you in today's episode that you may not have had asked until now. Okay, you may not have received this question before. And before we get to the question of the day, let's start with these 3 questions. Number 1, do you want this to continue? The tasks running your life, do you want this to continue being a thing for you? Quick answer, what is it? Number 2, if you don't want tasks to run your life anymore, who do you want to be in the driver's seat? What kind of energy, what kind of part of you do you want to run your life instead? Number 3, if tasks running the show have you feeling overwhelmed, almost burning out, feeling disconnected from yourself, from God, the universe, What's an important feeling that you want to have instead? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, almost burned out, and disconnected, then how do you want to feel instead? Yeah. Thanks for answering that for yourself. A lot of my clients want their heart to lead. And I call this the capital S soul, capital S self. The part of them that is on their side, on their own side, that knows that they're here for a bigger reason, knows that there's more out there. And the part of them that's been actively working towards trying to find that, that's the part of them that they want to lead. Please remember, it's also a lie and an illusion to think that purpose and alignment is out there somewhere else, that you have to go and find it and work for it. Eventually, with all these boxes ticked, that you'll end up there. It's all inside of you. You have it in you. And so in order for the soul to lead instead of the many tasks and obligations, there is this one question I said I would get to that I want you to ask yourself, please. What have you been tolerating? What might have you been tolerating? At first glance, it might not make sense, but let's talk about this for a little bit. If you want your soul to lead, and it's clear that it's not happening because the tasks are running your life, you might know what the opposite is. You might have felt what it's like for your soul to lead because you might have experienced it in the past. I have a lot of my clients who say, I have had this confidence before and I've lost it. How do I get it back? Because it's inside of you. So what might you be tolerating that you just keep going with it, conscious or unconscious, in your face or not, deep or on the surface, that prevents you from leading with your heart? There's another way to ask this question. Okay, if having tasks run your life is no longer an option for you, and mind you, if you still want tasks to run your life, you might want to stop listening to this episode because it's about not letting the tasks run your life. So let's say you do want to, you don't want the tasks to run your life. It's no longer an option for you, and you want to hand over the leadership to your heart or to your soul, to your intuition, to God leading the way. Then the other way to ask the question is, what do you get to let go of? What is like clingy on you, on your energy, in your beliefs, your patterns, habits, a way you relate to yourself, a way you relate to others, how you handle your priorities, how you may put yourself last on the tasks? What might you get to let go of? Is it staying with someone who's not really on your side in a relationship or in a partnership? Is it spending so much time and energy with someone who's an energy vampire? Have you heard about that? Someone who doesn't contribute to you leading with your soul self. Maybe you're tolerating that, blocking your own intuition. Maybe you're tolerating a job you're unhappy in. Would taking some time off even help? Sometimes it's just about giving yourself a day off. Because when the tasks run your life, that's the autopilot I mentioned at the beginning. Therefore, the concept and the truth of separation is alive. Because the part of your mind that isn't connected to the source of love, we call this the ego, because it believes it has to keep going to survive. And that might be just what you've been tolerating. I'm going to say this differently. A Course in Miracles talks about how, as humans, our real mind is the mind that we share thoughts in alignment with God. That the part of our mind that is shared directly with God, that's our real mind. And if you don't relate to the word God, you can also use words like the universe or positive energy source, a word that helps you encompass the bigger powers at play in our life. A Course in Miracles says that because God created the mind, because a lot of the questions we might have is, well, why does the ego exist? If God created us, if love created us as itself, why does the ego exist? And A Course in Miracles says that, yes, the mind was created by love, by God, and it's so powerful that it turned against itself and created the ego. Okay? So that's the separation that occurs, that the ego has the same energy of like, let's tick these boxes. Let's prove to ourselves and to others that we are worthy, ticking all these boxes, that we can't stop because stopping is weak, blah, blah, blah. So that is the part of the mind that's not connected to the source of love. And that's the ego. And again, it believes that it has to keep going to survive. And that might be just what you've been tolerating. In the energy of tasks running your life, maybe there's also a belief about how staying in this tolerated situation is the only way, and maybe there's an internal story telling you that if you leave this partnership, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. It's going to be too hard. When maybe all you've been consistently having is a nudge that it's time to make a change. It's the same thing for an environment. You need to declutter. Maybe that's what you get to let go of, because maybe you've been tolerating a mess. So maybe you get to declutter a space. When tasks are running the show, there's an underlying tolerating energy. And I just invite you to tune into what that might be for you. It's okay if you don't have the answer right away. You can also ask the universe to show you, what am I tolerating? What might I be tolerating? Because to tolerate is pretty much to bottle up annoyance until the, SHIT hits the fan. So just by asking yourself, what am I tolerating? Or what do I get to let go of so that the tasks don't run my life anymore, so that my soul can lead instead? And there might be one thing that comes up for you. It might not even be, it can be really simple. It doesn't have to be as big as like separating from your partner, or leaving your job. It might just be going to bed without your phone. Okay, just don't go and leave your marriage just after listening to this episode, because this is not my advice. My advice is for you to tune in to what you are tolerating, listening to your own inner guidance. Okay? And if you want access to your inner guidance, you want to maybe declutter the unhelpful thoughts and patterns that prevent your soul and your heart from leading your life, and you just want some support with that, why not apply for coaching? If you go to Claudia-Sam click on the Work With Me button on the top menu header, and then you can select Apply for Coaching. And whether we end up working together or not, the questions that you get to answer for yourself might offer you a lot of clarity. I'm going to end this episode today by sharing a few examples of what it might look like for tasks running your life and what you might be tolerating, okay? Just so to help the creative fluids within you to help you understand a little bit deeper what I mean. In tasks running your life, you might recognize, for example, that you're feeling disconnected from the people you love, and staying busy in the tasks, like the benefit of that, sneakily, is that it actually keeps you away from addressing the feeling of disconnect. Perhaps what you're tolerating is the habit that others rely on you for everything, from cooking dinner to babysitting to going away for weekend trips to making changes for a deeper sense of connection, like you're the one in charge. You're the one who's required to create the change. So this might sound like tolerating the choice of not being able to delegate tasks to others, or trusting in others' capacity to do their own part. There's a tolerating energy there. You could also be tolerating the pressure of time, like having or continuing to keep beliefs like time's running out, time is limited, or even like rushing through tasks is even an option. Like you're tolerating that rushing is an option. Or beliefs like the more you do, the more you succeed. So letting beliefs like I need to be finished work by X time, otherwise I won't be seen as productive or good enough of a worker. Like letting those go, because that is, you're tolerating that to exist within your mind. You might also be tolerating comparing yourself to others, like it's a thing that you can do, that comparing to yourself is part of your routine and where your mind can go, and you're allowing that to happen. So for instance, if you see other people doing it all, or seemingly doing it all, being successful on social media, you might be feeling like you're behind. So by rebound, it keeps alive the habit of tasks running your life. So by comparing yourself to others, you keep that habit going, hence you're tolerating the habit of seeing yourself as not enough, my friend. And so you're comparing yourself. Yeah. Okay, lastly, you might be tolerating, for example, lack of organization in your time management and not really knowing how much time things actually take. I mentioned that at the beginning. So you might be tolerating playing by someone else's schedule just because you think it has to be this way. If you choose how to spend your time, a part of you thinks you'd be overwhelmed and disorganized if you did it your way. It's a little bit like having a blank canvas and you're like, I don't know what I will paint. I have too many options. So instead you stay busy and sticking to your schedule, like tolerating that your calendar runs your life instead of closing your eyes, tuning into what you want to do, instead of seeing if you're available as per your calendar before saying yes to something. Decisions that are aligned with you and are not run by obligations, have-tos, or other misconceptions or false perceptions of what generates your worthiness to be here and to do you, that is what you might be tolerating. So if you want to lead from the soul self and you want some coaching, you're curious about how that might look like for you, then as I invited you to do, please go ahead and apply for coaching. You can also go to episodes of the Be Happy Now show number 93 and 94. They might help also to understand what that might look like to lead from your heart, from your soul self. This completes our episode for today. I hope that it was helpful. Reach out to me on Facebook Messenger or Instagram if you want to share any of your insights from episodes. I always love to hear from you. Thank you so much, beautiful friend, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
You've been listening to the Be Happy Now show with me, Claudia-Sam. Flex your soul connection muscle and be your inner guide to fulfillment and purpose. You are worthy of being you and of connecting to what stops you from living the life you are meant to live. Access more soul connection coaching at claudiasamcoaching.com.